So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter 33, verse number 1. So in the previous chapter we read how Krishna he appeared after he has left from the Rāsa-līlā, and then gopis searched for him and they sang the Gopi Gita. So he came, and then we read the various emotions and actions accordingly, which were manifested by 7 principal gopis. And then there was this dialogue, because he sat down, they made a seat for him to sit down, and they asked him question. So he replied, which is very interesting, that why he left, and we understand Krishna's mind. So in the material world, people work on the basis of their own selfish nature. They have desires, they want to fulfill them, and all the actions in the material world are basically prompted by raga and dvesha. And depending on the varieties, intensity, level of raga and dvesha, different people act differently, because there are 3 gunas of nature, sattva, rajas and tamas, and they also keep on changing. But Bhagavan Sri Krishna, his devotees, they are beyond that. And especially those who are in the material world, they also live in the material world, they have to deal with material people. But their dealings are not based on raga and dvesha. So it is very difficult to understand, because we tend to study them, see them, understand them according to our own mind, and this creates problem. This creates misunderstanding, and we, especially on spiritual path, we may be offensive because of this misunderstanding. So we have to keep this in mind. And raga and dvesha, they ride on our ahankara, because that is the boss of this whole system. And these are like engines, or his wheels for the ahankara, this raga and dvesha. He rides on them. So we saw how, especially in the last verse, where Krishna said that na pareham nirvadya sanyujam, so sadhu krityam vividhayushapi. So he said that I am unable to even fathom the amount of love and amount of service you have done, and he feels defeated. But then we saw how Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti comments, and he says that by hearing this, gopis understood that actually he has defeated us. So this is very interesting, that here in the material world everybody is trying to win over the other person, and that is the pleasure here. And ultimately no one actually wins, because the end result of material world is Vishadi Yoga. Even if you win, it is a loss. And here in the spiritual world, if you lose, still that is a victory. That is what is being shown. The victory is victory, and loss is also a victory. Everything is a victory, and both sides is a victory. And this is also difficult to understand, because we calculate according to our own raga and dvesha, according to our own ego, our own pride, and it's very difficult to understand that. So this whole description is being given so that we understand what actually bhakti is, because this bhakti is nothing but it is heart of Krishna, and what is being explained here is Krishna's heart. So if we want that, we have to align with it. At least we have to understand first theoretically what it is, and then we can make a choice whether we really want to get into it or not. And it is important to understand it, because without understanding, the avidya will stay. So there is mithya gyan, avidya, and because of that there is dosha, defined in Nyaya Sutra, second sutra if you remember, raga and dvesha, and then pravritti, then you act on that, and that brings suffering. That's how people suffer. This is the samsara. So it is important to understand that, and it's actually simple, but it is difficult to practice because of this, our own ahankara. So I was thinking of when this battlefield of Kurukshetra. So we know about Bhagavad Gita and all that, but there is many things described there. And one of the very interesting thing is that just before the war was about to begin, then suddenly Yudhishthira Maharaj, he removes his crown. He was a king, and kings have special crown. And he removes his armor, he drops his bow and arrow, and he gets down from the chariot. Now for a king to remove crown in public, it is never done. When a king moves out, he moves out with his regalia, with all the, there has to be this chhatra, chamara, umbrella. Sometimes if you have seen Shankaracharya or some of the acharyas moving, then they still move like that. They are always, one guy is walking behind them with a big silver stick, umbrella, two people around that. This is their style. So kings are like that. So he got down, and this is in front of everybody. You can do an humble act privately, but to be humble in public and to be humble in front of enemies, that is most difficult. Because you never want to bow down in front of your enemies. So he got down, and everybody was just shocked. So everybody thought that he is surrendering, because then he started walking to the opposite side. All the armies were on, they were already facing each other, standing and ready to fight. The conches were already blown. So then even Bhima and Arjuna, they thought, what is he doing? He is their brother, and they know him that he is very soft-hearted, so they thought that this war is over. Already the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, and first Arjuna did not want to fight. Krishna convinced him, and now who is going to convince him? So no one can convince, because even Krishna is very respectful to him. He is senior to Krishna. With Arjuna he can joke, and he can say things to him. He can call him Klebhyam Masmagama Partha. You impotent fellow, what are you doing? You cannot use those words to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So then they all got down. Obviously, if the king is down, they all get down, and all other kings were there. Drupada, Drishdyumna, all the kings from their side, they all got down, and they all started following him, because what can you do now? And no one dares to ask him. He was very grim-faced, very serious. He is walking, and then he goes, and then Krishna is also walking behind. And then he goes to Bhishma, and he bowed down to him. So they thought that he is going to ask him now that we don't want to fight, you please, because Bhishma is the chief on the other side. So of course he asks him for blessings. He says, please bless us so that we can win and fight. I mean, this is amazing thing. To do this in front of Duryodhana and Dusasana and all other Kauravas, it's quite amazing. I mean, Yudhishthira is not an ordinary person. He has brothers like Arjuna and Bhima especially, When you are surrounded with such great people, to be humble is even more difficult. If you yourself are great, to be humble is difficult, and when you are surrounded with great people, he has Krishna with him, he has Arjuna with him, he has Bhima with him, and many other people, and still he is being very humble. And that also in front of the enemies who are ready for his blood. So he does that. And then of course his whole thing, he asks for his blessings. He does not ask directly that how can we kill you, but he says that if you are on this chariot, it is impossible that we can win. And Bhishma says, yes, Yudhishthira, as long as I have the bow in my hand and I am on my chariot, there is no power in the three worlds which can defeat me. He was an old man, 100 plus at that time. Yeah, at least 125, if not more. And still he is saying, because he is a person whom Parshuram could not defeat. And Parshuram is known for killing Kshatriyas 21 times, but he could not do anything to Bhishma. So that person is going and being so, Yudhishthira Maharaj is going in front of him and he's saying, so Bhishma says that you have done the right thing. If you had not come, I would curse you. And now you have my blessings. And come and meet me privately. I will tell you the secret. And then he goes this and he does the same thing with Dronacharya. And he does the same thing with Kripacharya and Shalya. And then he comes back. And as an aside, of course that is not the part of what I want to highlight, Krishna goes to Karna. You see, Krishna is so unpredictable and he knows how to act. So Karna was not fighting, because before the fight began, then all the Kauravas they assembled, because you have to take stock of your army and who are powerful. So Bhishma was saying who are the great people, and he was saying we have, Dushasana is there, we have Duryodhana, and of course he named Kripacharya, he named Dronacharya, he named Ashwatthama, but he did not say anything about Karna. And he was saying, because there is, gradations, there are Atirathis, Maharathis, Dasarathis. So he was telling that how Dronacharya is an Atharathi, Kripacharya is an Atirathi and all that. And he did not say, and Karna is saying, when is going to take my name? Because he is a very proud person. So he was like jumping off his seat, and Bhishma didn't even look at him. So finally he could not control. He stood up and he says, what about me? And you know what Bhishma said? He says, you are Ardharathi. Ardharathi means half chariot. Means Atirathi means one who can fight with any amount of chariot drivers. Maharathi who can fight with 10,000 charioteers. Dasarathi means who can fight with 10. Ardharathi means half. So this was a big insult to Karna. So Karna got so mad. He says, okay, as long as you are in charge of Kaurava's side, our side, I will not fight. Because if I fight, you will get the credit. Because I will be killing people and all glories will go to you. So he was not fighting as long as Bhishma was there, which was good for Pandavas. So you know what Krishna did? He goes to Karna and he says, hey, listen, you are not fighting till Bhishma is there, so why don't you fight from our side? He says, what are you going to do? You come on our side and you fight, and when Bhishma is killed, then you come this side. So this is so amazing. Of course, Karna did not agree, but at least he tried, and this shows that when it comes to getting success in your work, you can go to this extent. Because the Kshatriyas, they have the just penchant for fighting, and they really don't care. Because this happened with Shalya. Shalya is maternal uncle of Pandavas, and he was coming to join them. And on the way, Duryodhana intercepted him knowingly, and he says, "Why don't you fight from our side?" And he says, "Okay." So he joined them. Although he was maternal uncle of the Pandavas. And this is how many kings came. Whoever reached them, if Duryodhana reached them first, they joined Duryodhana. If Pandavas reached them first, they joined him. That's why both parties went to Krishna also. And then Krishna, because both went, he was the only person to whom both went. Arjuna went and Duryodhana also went. So he has to divide himself. So he became himself on the side of Pandavas to drive chariot of Arjuna, and he gave his army to Duryodhana. So Kritvarma was on his side, side of Duryodhana. So it's so amazing that Krishna is this side, his army is on the opposite side. So is it a battle or is it a play? It's like you play some soccer match, okay, they need some players, so you go from our side and join. So anyway, the point is that how in bhakti we have to understand that the main thing is not my ego and that I have to win, but to be in the mood of devotion. Because winning here and winning in bhakti are two different things. So that's what is being depicted here, was depicted here. Okay, so Sailesh, you have a question?
Yes, Pranam Swami. I have a question about Shloka 20, where Krishna says that he does not immediately respond to a living entity in order to intensify living entity's devotion towards him. Does this statement primarily apply to living entities who are free from offense? Not necessarily.
What is the question?
This statement of Krishna, does it apply primarily to living entities who are free from aparad?
Why you say that? Gopis were free of aparad. It applied to him also, them also.
I was thinking in terms that if someone is not yet free from aparad, so then the primary cause of Krishna's not reciprocating to such a devoted or living entity is the aparad, not that he is perhaps willing to intensify his devotion or her devotion.
Not necessarily. I mean, how is one going to advance till one reaches that state? Can also help them. So that's why he made divisions, 3 divisions in the commentary, if you remember. He says those who are ajat prema, jat prema, and then third was gopis. So those who are ajat prema, obviously they may have some offenses. They're not perfected beings. Okay. Yes.
I had a question from the end of the commentary in the last class as well. When this final statement of Chakravarti Pad, where he's saying that the gopis had this idea that he's Parameshvara, he's replete with all virtues, and he's taken this action that's going to show the greatness of their prema and show a lesser position of himself. My question is, how do they have this perspective in that we typically don't think of them as like thinking of their legacy outside of the world of Vrindavan, or in whose view are they thinking that they're going to become renowned for their prema? In other words, in the context of this Rāsa-līlā, this is a completely secret, affair that's hidden from all the residents of Vrindavan. So now it's being said that by our doing this, we're going to become famous for our prema. So in whose eyes is that fame going to be seen? This asman prema bhattavatvena udkarshayitum swam cha apakarshayitum. The last sentence starting parameshwaratvad.
Yeah. Yeah, premvatvena utkarshayitum asmad rini bhavitum. They are talking about Sri Krishna, that Krishna wants us to become famous.
Right.
Well known, that we have so much love for him.
Exactly.
So now what is your question?
The question is, how are they thinking that? Like, to whom is this fame going to be spread in their viewpoint? Like, are they thinking, like, in the material world, we're going to become famous for being, like, prem bhaktas?
No, I mean, among their own community also. To show that how great lover they are of Krishna.
In what respect? I mean, this is hidden from all the other members of the community.
Yeah, you see, main thing here is that the way he is trying to explain is the intention of the commentator is not really that they know he is Parameshwara, he is this, he is that. He is trying to extract something from this verse for our benefit. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Already you can extract something directly from it, but he is going like one more level. In Sanskrit, this is called koti. Koti, not koti, which means millions and all that, but koti actually means level. When they make arguments and counter arguments, then they say this is the second koti, third koti, fourth koti. You go to different levels of arguments. So that's called koti. In commentaries, they will also write Dvitiya koti, Tritiya koti, like that. So he is taking this verse to another level of explanation. So because this whole idea behind this Rāsa-līlā, as I have said few times earlier, is to make us known what is bhakti. That is the true purpose of it, because Bhāgavatam was propagated for that very reason. Vyasa was not satisfied for that very reason, because this was not revealed clearly. Therefore he felt dissatisfied that something which people should know, I have not done that job. And then Narada said that and told him, Tom etad viplikuru, expand it, give it further down and so on. So that is what, keeping that in mind, because the commentators are not just writing to explain the verse as such, but they have a complete picture behind it. That what actually is this book about, why this book is so great, and why this Rāsa-līlā is considered as the heart of Bhāgavatam. Because it is this place where that dharma projita kaituvavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam is really revealed. Why it is revealed here? Because it is gopis who are the true repository of this prema. So their mood is being described here. Now it is not in the verse, but somehow he is trying to get it out, that this is what Krishna is trying to do, to show us that how Krishna is ready to accept his defeat. And by this he is trying to bring out the characteristic of love. That's what I was trying to say in the beginning, that in love, even by getting defeat, you feel happy. In the material world, nobody feels happy by getting defeated. But just like if there is a father and he has a small child and he's playing with him, and then they have a mock fight and he acts as if he is defeated, and the boy is very happy and the father is happy with that, seeing him. So this is what he is trying to show, that in love there is not any trace of any competition or any ego, that even the topmost supreme person feels blissful to be defeated by the gopis. And then gopis are not having a glee hearing this. They are going one step above or down, whichever way you want to see. And they say that no, we want to be defeated by you. So that is what he is showing us through his commentary. That is the message. Otherwise there is no such thing there. There is no newspaper or there is no social media which is going to now blast it and show that gopis have won or Krishna has won or that. It is for us to understand. Does that make sense, or something is sticking?
Yeah, I guess, if we take it if you want to take it in that literary sense, then I wonder why the commentator doesn't just write from a third-person perspective, why he puts this line of thought directly in the mouth of the gopis.
Yeah, because that's how he's explaining it. He explains it like that. Because he's showing their dealings. Otherwise, if he has to put it from third person, how will he say that gopis are thinking like this? He has to say like that. Gopis thought like that, but then you same question, why would gopis think like that? How would he put in third person? Because if he has to put gopis cannot think this way. That's your whole objection, right?
Right.
So then how would he say it? How would he bring out this point without putting it into their mouths?
Well, I still don't see why he's putting these thoughts there in the gopis' minds in the first place. But if he were to be presenting it, just to answer your question, I would say that he could say that Krishna has done all of these things in this way, and then that the gopis accepted or acknowledged this, and then although they might not have this in mind, their action equates to this, and then sort of attribute it to them, or in a way that doesn't literally state that they're thinking this way, because it's still not clear to me how they could actually have this perspective.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. The commentators are giving commentary. You see so many dialogues they make among themselves. Krishna is said like, that's why they're saying. It's not that they are saying like this or they are thinking like this. This is how commentator interprets it, putting words in their mouth. The way you are saying, then it's not going to bring that rasa, because now gopi may think like this or may not think like that. But now he's making them say it. And then he will say, gopis may think like this. Right? That's the only way he can say. But now he can say that after this the gopis kept quiet. They didn't say anything. Anyway, at least that's how I think. If you have some other thoughts, maybe you can say. That's my understanding. Yeah, you're all? Yeah.
So, it's about Krishna, who goes up to that extent to go to see Karna and invite him to fight from his side. So, and then you say that, this is when somebody wants to reach serve their own goal or whatever, to reach their own purpose, you can go up to that extent. So, my question is because these kings also, they were coming to join, and then the first group they were meeting, they were joining this or the other one. So then this is I'm wondering, because either they fight against Krishna or with Krishna. So what is determining this different position that they get? Because it doesn't look that they are so much, not moved by enmity really.
Yeah, so what's your question?
So the question is how, there's two things in the question. One is how Krishna tries to convince Karna at last minute to join him. And
so what is the question on that point?
Yeah, I'm very surprised about this behavior of Krishna, because he is like sitting there full of rage for the Pandava, and he's full of hatred basically for the Pandava. He is the one who is more motivated to kill them. So what is the reason why Krishna tries to convince him to go there?
The reason is so that if he likes, he can join. I mean, you have people, you probably are not so much knowing how the politicians work. The politicians do it all the time. They buy other politicians, buy money, they do tricks so that he join us for their benefit.
Okay, that way. Trying to, yeah. Okay.
You have to know politics, how politics works. So how political people are. They don't care. He did this is not the first time. When he came as a peace messenger, and then when he was returning, at that time also he met Karna. He said, I want to talk to you in private. He met him, and then he said that actually you are son of Kunti. All this time he did not know. So he said, you should come this side and you will be the king, because they will win, and you are senior to Yudhishthira because he was born. So you will be the king. But he refused. So this is Rajniti. This is diplomacy.
There's one question in the chat from Mohini, and she would like to know on verse number 20, can you explain how this is given as an argument that because Krishna is the son of Nanda, therefore he is neither of these, meaning Atmarama and Purnakama?
Because if you are son of Nanda, then he has love for Nanda or not? He was not indifferent son. He being son of Nanda Maharaj, he had love for Nanda Maharaj, he has love for Yashoda, he cared for them. So then how again be called Atmarama? Atmaramas don't care. They will be totally indifferent. That's how it was described what an Atmarama is. Okay. Alright, so Sri Shuka Uvacha, Sri Shukdev Goswami said, Itham Bhagavato Gopyaha Shrutva Vachah Supeshalaha Jahur Virahajam Tapam Tadangopchitashishaha. Sri Shukdev Goswami said that the gopis in this way, after hearing the sweet words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Krishna is very good in talking, so he spoke to them and they were completely satisfied. So their man was broken. And Jahur Virahajam Tapam, therefore they gave up their distress, born of separation from him. Tadanga Upchita Ashisha, and their desires were also fulfilled by associating with him personally. So they felt very happy. They got the blessings to be with him personally. So Trayastrinshaya Rāsa-līlā Vihāra Jalakelaya Prasnotrani api yuktani Parikshit Shukdevaya. So in this 33rd chapter, there is a description of dancing of Krishna with gopis, Rāsa-līlā, and Vihar Jalkelaya, and playing, and also water sport. And then in the end there is also questions raised by King Parikshit and reply given by Shukdev Goswami. So that is the subject matter of this chapter 33. Supeshala Ati Manohara. So the Krishna's speech is called here as Supeshala. So Supeshala Vagmi. Supeshala means who is very good in speaking, which means he is a good judge of time and place and the person and circumstances to say what is to be said in that particular situation. So that person is called Supeshala, or Vagmi is another word. So that's what Krishna is. So means Ati Manohara. His speech is very enchanting. So with whomever he speaks, he knows the person's heart and he can captivate. Tasya angas parshadina upchita ashisha kamaya samta. So by the touch of his bodily limbs, the wish or the desires of the gopis was fulfilled. Therefore, they were completely satisfied and their distress was gone. Bhāgavata eva vavisheshnam, or this actually is qualifying Bhagavan and not the gopis. Tadanga upchita ashisha means that Bhagavan, who was happy to have the touch of the gopis' bodies. Gopi gatra sparsha janita sukhasya iti artha. So that explains it means Krishna, who had the happiness generated by the touch of the bodies of the gopis. Tena cha prashnottar samapto manashamtya tada alingan chumbanadi vilasa asan iti dyotitam. So by this, that jahu virhajam tapam, that they gave up their distress of separation and they felt happy. Tadangupchita. He says this is indicative that after their dialogue in which they had asked question to Krishna and Krishna replied, so their man was satisfied, means their love, anger or their conceitedness was gone. And after that they enjoyed embracing, kissing and all these activities of love they did. That is implied in this sloka. So then in the second verse he describes what they did after that. So tatra arabhat govindo rāsa-līlām anubrataihi Śrīratnairanvitah pritairanyanya baddha bahubhihi. So after that Govinda, he began his play of rasa, Rāsa-līlā. So rasa is a technical word here, although literally it means rasanam samuha. Rasa means a conglomeration or mixture of rasas, various tastes or various love experiences coming from different sthāyi bhavas. That is called rasa. But here it also refers to a specific dance. It's also called Rāsa-līlā or Rāsa-līlā. So bahunartaki yukto nritya vishesha rasa. When there is one male and there are many females and they dance, and this is a special dance, it has also another name, it is called Hallisaka dance. So that is called rasa. So that is also the significance of this word here. And he himself is Govinda. So Govinda means he is one who gives pleasure to the senses, or who is the master of senses, who is complete in Madhurya and Aishwarya, is Govinda. So Govinda is also the presiding deity of Vrindavan, which was established by Sri Rupa Goswami. And then he danced with gopis who are described here as anuvrata, means they were devoted to him, which also means that they were in complete harmony with him. Because if you want to dance with somebody, then that person also has to understand your style, your mood, your steps. So then only it is pleasurable. Otherwise, if you dance and the other person is out of step, then there is no fun in that. So anuvrata signifies that they were in complete harmony, or they were complete match to him. And that's what gives pleasure. And there are other adjectives here. They are called Sri-Ratnai. So means they are the best of women, because they are the perfect partners for Krishna. They are full of love for him. So there is no ego play. Generally when there are parties, people dance, everybody is in their egoistic mood. Everybody is trying to show off. So here it is different. That's why the word anuvrata is used. And pritai. So pritai means that they are in complete love with him. Means that they are dancing for his pleasure, which also means that since they know, they love him, and love is, this priti has natural knowledge embedded in it, because this is also samvid shakti. So means they are perfect in knowledge about him and his mood, what he wants to do. So that is the significance. So anyonya baddha bahubhi. So since they are dancing, then they are all holding hands of each other. So it looks like that they made a circle and Krishna is in the center. And that's how the dance began. So he says arabhat, tatra arabhata means he began. So it is in Atmanipada. नृत्य गीत चुंबन आलिंगनादि नाम रसानाम समूहो रास तन्मय्या क्रीडा ताम अनुव्रतैस्तदानीं परस्परै एकमत्येन स्वानुकूलै. So he says that this combination of various rasas, which is in the form of dancing, singing, kissing and embracing, etc., that is called rasa. And the play which involves this is called Rasa-līlā. So it is a play, means it is not for some stage show, some dancing like that, but for their own pleasure. Like people play for pleasure. There is no competition. These days people do play krida, that there is also competition there. So then whenever there is a competition, then stress comes, people become anxiety and have to do better than this person. So there is nothing like that. Means they are completely relaxed, no stress, no tension. That is krida. Now play also has become work. That is the difference between play and work. So work you do because you want to achieve something. Play you do because you have achieved something. So that's the thing. So anuvratai tadanim paraspara ekmatyena swanukulai. So there the word anuvratai signifies that mutually they were on the same wavelength, as they say. Ekmatya means they are in complete agreement. And swanukulai means they were completely favorable to each other. So it means Krishna is trying to please them and they are trying to please him. So that is the competition. It's not a competition who is going to win, but who can give more pleasure. So that is what is Rasa-līlā. That's why it is Rasanam Samuha. That it is the ocean of rasas. Because rasa comes in our life also, rasa comes. We are all looking for some rasa. When there is harmony in life, when things are favorable, whether in your relations, in your work, anywhere, then it is pleasure. So this is the ultimate of harmony, and with so many of them. So So that is what is being described. Anyonyam abadha sangrathita bahavo yeistaisa. So all the gopis also, they do not have competition with each other here. Therefore they are all holding hands of each other. Because they are all together, the goal is one. So when we have one goal, then only all differences disappear. Why differences come in among people or between people? When they have different goals, different desires. So then there are problems, because each one is trying to achieve, and then one wants to achieve one's own goal and another person wants to achieve another goal. So this Rāsa-līlā shows us that how happiness actually comes when there is harmony. And that is only possible in bhakti. In material world it is never possible. Because in material world everybody is independent. And they have all independent goals. Now even in the family it's not like that. At least previously people were like that. Like you see Kurukshetra we were talking about. So it is Yudhishthira Maharaj who played the gambling. So why these other four brothers have to go with him? They could have refused. Today somebody would do that. If your brother plays gambling and loses everything, he says, hell with you, I told you not to do it. And you still went along with it and you lost all your property. So why shall I now get in trouble with you? So this is how people were in the past. This is one type of pleasure. Now it is very difficult for people to imagine it. They will think these people are stupid. It's like when I was talking about that, you can deal with people also in a humble way and this. And so how is it possible? Then they won't listen to me, then they won't care for me. Because that's how our mindset is at present. So in the past it was like that. When you hear all these stories of devas and asuras fighting, it is one guy who has a problem and everybody goes with him. Yeah. It's like what you see in the ants, that they have the queen ant, or you see in the bee, they have the queen bee. And if the queen bee is flying to this side, then all fly with her, And if she dies, then they all die. Human beings were like that. So then gradually it started dumping down, as they say. And then joint families were there. At least that we have experienced. In joint family, one leader, whatever he says, everybody just does that. Now that is gone. Now they say it's a nuclear family. Hydrogen, that also molecule. Only two of them. Not some big molecule. So that's the present. They are also not getting along. Even two people don't get along together. It's a wonder if two people can get along together. It's a great wonder. Anywhere, if you can actually see two people getting along together, it will be a big surprise to me. Big surprise. And then you read stories like this, Krishna came all the way from Dwarka. Why he used to be with these people? He spends months with them, driving the chariot of Arjuna. Who will do this now? He says, this is your problem, man. Why shall I come there? He will send a text message from there. Not coming. So this is unimaginable. But this is what Krishna wants us to be. So this is the whole idea behind these scriptures, behind Bhagavad Gita. What is Krishna trying to teach? He's saying Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudharlama. So to have that vision, all this Vibhuti yoga, this yoga, that yoga, the idea is to come to this level of rasa. This is what he wants to have. And this is what he is trying to teach. But we are very adamant We don't care, we don't listen. We have our own ideas and we think we are going to be successful. And he says, no, my dear friend, you will not be. You will continue to suffer life after life. So you listen to me. Sarva dharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vraja. He says, I will uplift you. So that is the message from this Rāsa-līlā. That's what we should understand. This is the underlying teachings of this Rāsa-līlā chapters. The rest is a description because it is nice hearing about them and thinking, but message is how to cooperate, how to love, how to be together in service to Krishna. That's what Vaishnava Dharma means. This is the most auspicious thing. Everything is inauspicious. All these other paths, there is no unity in that. So this Vaishnava Dharma is the only thing which is auspicious. Otherwise, this Jagat is mithya. What is the auspiciousness in that? This beautiful creation of God, so that is mithya. Simple. So that's not very wonderful. Bhagavan does the creation and we deny it completely. We don't even accept that it exists. So how is that pleasing to him? It's like you build a nice house and then you say, yeah, it's quite an imaginary thing. It really doesn't exist. And then you try to prove to other people how this house actually does not exist. Can you believe this? Make big effort to disprove that this house is there. Everything what you are seeing is actually not real. That is also philosophy. And people study that also. So here Krishna is showing that everything is real and there, and the taste of water and the light of the sun and moon. So if we can shift our awareness, then some satisfaction, some pleasure will start coming, start experiencing. Because without Krishna there is no happiness. So we'll stop here if anybody has any more questions.